and the round, perfect throat, and the dark, dark hair, and the darker eyes, but dealing with Nancy's face, it is as well to spring at once into Homeric superlatives. For instance, the face of Helen launched the armament of the Achaeans. The face of Nancy put out John Scoville's smile. Why should he be so grave at the vision? In dumb pride and enjoyment, no doubt. A bestseller lay face downward beside her, and near it an open box of bonbons. She selected one without looking, raised it, nibbled, looked thoughtfully up to the whispering foliage of the shade trees, and then flicked the half-tasted chocolate away, where it rolled in the sand. The lower jaw of John Scoville thrust out. He mentioned a forbidden name and started for his daughter. At a little distance from her, however, he slackened his pace, shrugged his shoulders, and with a frowning effort summoned up again his famous smile. In this wise, he swaggered jovially up to the girl. "All right, Nan," he invited. "The horses are saddled and waiting for us." She lifted her eyes slowly, as though the lids were weighted. "For us?" she queried. "Right-o!" She selected another bonbon and nibbled it thoughtfully. "And where should we go?" John Scoville's smile faltered, but he sustained it, as one might say, with an iron will, and shrugged his shoulders like a prize fighter, waiting for the bell and making sure that every muscle is fit. "Where do we go?" he echoed. "To a bit of heaven, Nan, that's fallen to earth just on the other side of that range." Nancy Scoville covered a careful yawn with careful fingers. "It's awfully out of place, then, isn't it?" she murmured. Signs of increasing temperature appeared in her father's face. "A stream," he went on courageously, "jumps out of the ground, up the valley, and goes sliding and slithering over the rocks, ducking between the boulders, slipping out into broad, cool pools. I have the fishing tackle in the saddlebags. Nan, the trout are so thick we can jump in and kick 'em out with our boots." His daughter surveyed him with a trace of concern, from the sombrero on his head to the spurs on his heels. For when in Rome, John Scoville always dressed like a Roman, and having ascertained that outwardly at least her sire was normal, she allowed her graceful head to sink back once more in the cushion. "My dear," sighed Nancy Scoville, "you know that I never wear boots." "I'll be," stated John Scoville. He pointed an accusing finger. The famous smile was gone, alas, for all that day. "For heaven's sake, Nan, who ever heard of wearing dancing pumps in the mountain desert?" She opened her lips to answer and let them remain parted, while her eyes followed the fluttering fall of a leaf. John Scoville raised both of his long arms to heaven. He groaned. "Why did I ever bring you out here? Why?" "I haven't the least idea," admitted the girl, and removed the corner from a buttered chocolate. John Scoville loosened his bandana. He grasped the box of candy and held it behind his back. "Nan," he said hoarsely, "I hope to keep the truth from you, but I'm at the end of my rope. I'm going to tell you why I brought you along with me here, why I saddled myself with you when I came here. He gestured nobly around him. "Where 10,000-foot mountains walk down to your backyard and nod good morning to you, where men speak from the heart, where the very air is an elixir of life, where every day is a poem, strong, swift, and free." He paused and glared at her. "Nan!" She started slightly, and the heavy lashes flickered up a little. "Nancy Scoville, have you been asleep?" "Certainly not." "Repeat my last words," he demanded suspiciously. She thought an instant. "I am going to tell you why," she answered. "Those were the last words I said?" "Yes." For answer, John Scoville gestured to the giant mountains to bear witness to his patience and his sufferings, and then he dropped his big fists upon his hips and continued. "Do you remember when Dr. Romney examined you?" "Of course. There wasn't a thing wrong with me. Silly idea of yours, Dad." "Was it?" echoed her father sardonically. "Now, young woman, I'll tell you exactly